Hi, Salam Alaikum. Sulaiman Rahim here, Messenger of the Covenant, Breaker of the Seven Seals. Welcome. Brothers and sisters, we have a lot to talk about today. Before we get started, it's all about the Holocaust, brothers and sisters. This Holocaust, it's a lot that Holocaust I haven't talked about, brothers and sisters. But it was a purifying. See, we personify everything, and we always turn everything to our advantage. So our energy deprivation period, we knew we had to go through it, so we say how we can use that, take advantage of it. So yes, a purification. That's why it says we were put in the furnace of affliction. See, to purify, it's like putting gold in a furnace. So they use the opportunity to purify us, to make us stronger, right? Transform us from angels into gods. You had these clowns last Sunday talking about we make man in our likeness, our image. He has no idea what he's talking about. But also, the Holocaust. See, it was unjust. The Holocaust, the injustice that was inflicted upon us for nearly 500 years. Now, there was two aspects to this situation: energy deprivation, and the deprivation itself, and the injustice that went with it. Because it says we're being enslaved and afflicted. There's two degrees here. The affliction is the unjust part of it. Because we were to be enslaved, we were supposed to submit, but no one told us to submit to injustice aspect of it. That's the Holocaust part. That's the consequences they're facing, and in fact, they're actually experiencing right now. And they will experience every drop of it, because that's where consequence works. See, consequence has to balance. And we're going to talk about this balance, because I'm going to make this kind of put a fine point in this balance situation. There's balance and there's perfect balance. But also the Holocaust. See, the Holocaust was part of the price, right, of coming out as a superior tribe. It's like, trying out for the Olympics, right? You have to qualify first. Once you qualify, then you can compete. So some people think just going to the Holocaust was just enough to get you to what they refer to as hereafter. And they had to understand that hereafter is wrong, because hereafter what? At what point do you call it hereafter? Hereafter what? Hereafter Holocaust? Hereafter war? Hereafter what? When they say hereafter what? Hereafter what? What's the point that the hereafter is the hereafter? But some people think, oh man, no. The Holocaust just gives you, I spend Holocaust just qualifies you to compete, to compete, become the who will become the superior tribe. So if you go to the because those didn't go to the Holocaust, they can compete. So they're the ones that's on the sidelines trying to stop us. They couldn't compete, so they're trying to distract us and everything else. Right? It's like the sperm, right? Once it gets in the egg, other of us gets flushed down the toilet. They don't want that. So they try to prevent you from even getting to the egg. So it's two stages there. And people are not getting that, because they think, oh man, I went to the Holocaust. Suleiman saying, man, I'm in Holocaust and I got a free ticket. No, you don't. If you're a female, right, and you ain't out there making love with devils and everything else, right? You know what you did in the past, because we know we're not even gonna think about your past, sisters. Once you get home, your past will no more be remembered. We ain't talking about that. Before you heard the truth, we're not talking about that. But the sister will get a hand up, because that's what we do with our women. We didn't protect them, so we owe that to them. We don't protect you. We didn't protect you, and then you was forced to be a prostitute or whatever you was forced to do, and now we're gonna condemn you for it. No, we don't. We don't do that. We don't care what you did before, right? Before you heard the truth. So now we're pulling you out of this shithole, right? But everyone else, they don't understand what taste compete. And that's why Suleiman comes on the scene to give you some idea what taste compete, because he's a competitor. And we're going to talk about some of the things he's responsible for. He's a competitor. So he's giving it all in. And it tells you the only way you're going to get it, you have to keep up with him. If you can't keep up with him, you can't compete. So if you think you're going to slide in, ease on in, no. Because it's a purification process, a purging process. Like I said, look at the animal world. See, we gave them that nature. And then we get eaten up, get purged. They call it I can't think of the word right, but right. But it's purging, right? It's your body does the same thing. Your body is constantly removing the weaker cells so stronger ones can remain stronger. It's not about like they try to tell you was strong survive. True, but they take the consequence out of it. They think because they can take your land and everything, that means they deserve it. No, it don't work that way. Culling is the word I was trying to get things cultivate. I got two words and they said culling. It's part of our creation process. I try to bring everybody down to earth instead of this mystery God stuff. They think some of you drive a blood gonna say, oh, it's all bullshit. It's all designed to get you off the mathematical standard. Because once you understand what you get a mathematical standard, it's mathematics. And culling is a part of mathematics. You want to keep your herd strong. You want to keep your seed strong. You want it weak. If you allow the weak ones to stay in there and get weaker and weaker and weaker. So you get it stronger. It's like your body. You fast and everything else. Fasting what? Fasting causes the weaker cells to die. Because when you're fasting, right, you don't have much nutrition. So you can't, so the stronger cells is able to pull the nutrition from the weaker cells, and so weak cells die. And so you see that coming out in your solid waste, because a lot of that is just dead cells, because it couldn't survive. So it's one thing fasting do for you. So it keeps your stronger cells strong. But if you don't do that, then the weaker cells, all the cells come weak, then you get all the problems that go along with that. So that's why it says when 144,000 come along, right? Because I'm going to talk about it in a minute. 144,000, right? They will be soldiers. Then you see what it's really like, because they'll keep up with Suleiman, and then because you see Solomon right now as one person, you don't even recognize what you're seeing. But when they come in, right, then you see it's him magnified 144,000 times. Elijah Muhammad said what he says like God is like the number one, and all of us like zeros. And every time you put a zero behind the one, you multiply 10 times. See? So you put a zero behind is 10. Then another zero, you got 100. Another zero, you got 1,000. See, but you need a God in one, otherwise it doesn't mean anything. It's 140,000 because right now, right, there's no one can keep up with me. And the only way you want to get to here, you have to keep up with Suleiman, because your name has to be in his book, and you have to keep up with him to get out of here. And I don't know anyone that's doing that right now. But except when 140,000 come up, they will be able to do that. So you keep with him wherever he goes. Then you see what was really happening, the purpose of all this. A nation that will last forever, never given another people. See? Because these, see, in other words, this great reward that was to get. Last reward. You think you can just go in and, hey man, hey, I'm gonna do hours work and I want $1 million pay? You want $1 million work? I mean, in a righteous place, you want $1 million pay? You better do $1 million worth of work, put $1 million calories in. But they think, oh man, I can do a little this and do a little that. If you think that, they're going, have at it. Have at it. I don't know. I put it well for 30 some years. I've had people come and go, come and go, come and go. They don't get it. And they think, what's the personality? Well, if I like them or they please me or they spend a lot of time trying to see if they can make me like what they're doing, I keep telling them, you can't impress me. You can keep, one thing, you want to impress me, you got to keep up with me. And I'm moving fast. And I'm not, you know, sometimes I took it, every now and then I took them time to slow down. Maybe trying to, somebody see, I see a little baby running up behind me, so I slow down a little bit. See if, give them a chance to catch up, right? But that's only for a short period. I'm on. I'm on. Because the point is, I got a rendezvous with who? Master Muhammad. I got to be there on time. Understand? Because he's leaving at time. His will is coming, his transportation is leaving at a certain time, and I got to be there with the passengers. And if I'm screwing around with you, I won't be there, you won't be there either. You don't understand this. Bro, you just don't understand it. I got to rendezvous with Master Muhammad. I got to be there at a certain time with my passenger list. Everybody has to be ticketed. It's that time unprecedented trouble. We ain't gonna run out of here, but we have to be there to move out. Because if we ain't there, then we missed. Then we have to go to tribulation, take the second. And I'm not doing that. Not for you or anyone else. After 30-some years of going through this, I'm gonna sit around and then go to tribulation because you can't keep up and I'm trying to help hold on to you. No. I back this whole thing where I keep up and I carry keep it along with me. That's it. That's why I'm not taking it. Anytime I'm slowing down, I'm going faster than normally because I had to carry scissors with me. That's why I can't slow down. I keep saying I need to take a break. Everybody, I need to take a break. I can't because I got to carry these sisters through. Because that's what we do for our sisters. I'm moving faster, going past the speed limit, right? If I have extra time, because I got to bring them along too. But you bros out there, if you ain't keep up, you're just gonna be left behind. And then you catch the scenic route. See, I keep telling you. See, if you think oh man, I was your buddy, I was your first friend, I was your brother, I was sister, I was your brother, I was your best pal, I was your dog, and like that. You think like that, if you think like that, if you want to, you're gonna be sadly mistaken. Let me disemburge you that right now, right? It's not gonna happen that way. If you can't keep up, I said no pushmobiles here. Don't have time for it. See, because you don't understand when you say you're at war, you can't be talking I'm at war and then go sleep. This is the worst war in history, and I don't see anybody stepping up. I don't see anybody really stepping up to understand it. I don't see any warriors out there that really understand it. I see somebody going to throw a couple of rocks, a couple of stones, maybe shoot a couple of bullets, and go back to sleep. That's what I'm seeing. And that's on them. It's your salvation you're working with. I keep telling you, nobody's going to make your hereafter for you. You have to make your own hereafter. And part of making hereafter is getting to what you think you call hereafter. That means you have to create that time. I keep telling you, the way you move forward to time, you move this hereafter time because you got to create, right? You got to create the time, create your path there. Create your ticket. You have to create that. You're not going to pull you into hereafter. Nobody's going to push you into hereafter. Our cost just take it qualifies you to compete. Like I said, there's 144,000 eggs out there. It's just like when all that sperm, they compete for that one egg. We got 144,000 tickets. That's for the brothers. See? 144,000 tickets. Otherwise, you got to catch the next plane. Right? If you can, let's move on, brothers and sisters. Because I got a lot to talk about and a lot of different subjects. So let's see. That's one advantage we took of the Holocaust. See, so they did injustice, but we used to our advantage. See, those of us who's faithful, understood, we choose our advantage because they still Let me say it in short like this. In short like this, right? Now, during the Holocaust, we don't understand the mathematics of it mentally, but we understood it instinctively. Because I keep telling you, I'm not giving you anything. I'm just bringing out you what's in you. So the mathematics of it is within you. Mathematics is within you. See, and that's what they some prefer as the faith of it, because you don't have a consciousness. They took away from consciousness, but still in your nature. Remember, you were still mathematics, still in your nature, and so you still act according to it, even though you wasn't conscious of it. So your faith was based on your knowledge, your instinctive knowledge of consequence. That's another powerful subject there altogether, brothers and sisters. Your instinctive knowledge of consequence, right? Which consequence is a fact. I said faith is based on fact. Your instinctive knowledge of consequence is very powerful, right? Allowed you to have the faith to know that what they was doing to you was making you better, making them worse. Because if somebody takes something from you that you're supposed to have, in other words, you're supposed to be 1,000, and somebody take 300 from you, you're gonna get 300 back. If they take it fixed so you can't get no other way, it just improves your genes. That's how they turn into diamonds, because they figured. Oh, okay, let me say it this way. I didn't mean to go into this kind of this brother sister. Hold on a second here. I didn't mean to go in just like this. I feel kind of just help because it's just so much to talk about here. Make this adjustment here. There's so much to talk about, so much to say. Okay. If you're supposed to be 1,000, that's what everybody said. 1,000 energy a day. That's what everybody gets. Everybody gets the same amount. You understand that? Say, for instance, somebody take 300 from you. That means you get 300 back another way. Instantly positive energy. Remember, I said they control the quality of our energy. That's the problem we have here. That symbiotic relationship I talk about. They control the quality. So they took. Now, if they take 300 from you and you can immediately borrow, get 300 from someplace else, hey, they took from you, got someplace else. Somebody gave you $300. I'm giving you whatever. Then you bounce over pound. What if they fix it? You can't, no kind of way you get it. You can't get it from the bank. You can't get it from food. You can't get it anything. The clock. Every kind of way you can get it. It still got to come to you. The only other way to come to you is improve your genetic, your structure. If they lock all the doors, and that's what they did. That's how they turned to the diamonds. Damn fools. Because they locked out any kind of way to come to us, right? That they could control. So I think it improved our nature. It didn't give us better nature. It just improved the nature that we had. You can't turn an apple into an orange, but you can make the apple the best apple possibly can be. And that just furthered Dr. Shabaz's process, because that's what he started out, to make us better. So what happened is they finally made the final transformation, because he brought us up to, when you put a coal under the ground, it takes millions and millions of years that the pressure builds up to turn that coal into a diamond, right? And then once it happens instantly, once the once the pressure becomes greater than that coal can withstand, the transformation comes instantly. It's either going to be crushed to dust or transformed to a diamond. So what happened to us, we got to the point where the pressure was so great, and they made the final transition. We're going to put that pressure on so intense they can't, because we have ways to get away, the softer party, man. They did this to us, we can go do something else. We get money from someplace else, we get something else. I'm talking about an unjust point of it, but we still was going to be able to. Let me say it again slowly. If we have everybody gets $1,000 a day, but we need 500. We need 500, right? We only get 1,000. No, we need 1,500. That means we have deficit. So we got a $500 deficit right there, right? See? But what they do is we're getting 1,000. So we sell energy deprivation because we need 1,500. But at 1,000 that we get, they take 300 of that. And see, because that's that extra 300, that's got to come back to us. That's the part. And they're restricting that, makes these shit and everything else, so we couldn't get anything other way. Then what happened is that, like I said, you got your genes, like your body, your weaker cells die, and your strong, and the baby is so stronger cells. You force that process, you accelerate that process until you just so strong, you turn to a diamond. You didn't convert to another kind of cell, you just turn to a diamond. They convert. They did some damn fool. That's what they're doing. At the same time, right, by them taking X 300, wasn't supposed to take, they was transferring themselves into dust because they were getting all that negativity for themselves and their children. So they was turning our children into diamonds, and they would turn their children into they shit to begin with. They turned them more shit. So they got worse and worse, worse. And we see them right now. They're all crazy. The whole. You look and say, what's wrong with these people? Because now you're seeing the result of that 500 years of stuff. And now you see it all take place in 1 year. See? Like Doc said, man, hey, man, you've been stealing for 30, 50 years now. Okay, now you got 1 year to live. Now see all of it, all that shit coming to you in 1 year. We understand that, brothers and sisters. By them taking us through the Holocaust, see, they thought they was hurting us. But they made us better while saying they're making them worse. Because the Holocaust was injustice between how much bad luck we had and how much they forced upon us. So we required 1,500, was only get 1,000, and Jeff based on they made us servants. But they took 300 of that, so we only got 700. So now we got 300 positive energy coming in, and they control that. So it couldn't come in food, it couldn't come in clothing, it could come in relationships. Only way left was coming in is improving our condition, physical condition, mental condition inside, making ourselves stronger. See. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. So I'm going to talk about the graveyard shift. What I mean by graveyard shift? See, brothers and sisters, Suleiman is the only one in history, had to preach the graveyard. See, Elijah Muhammad didn't preach the graveyard. He preached the Levites. They weren't the dead. When you understand the angel key, the dead represents the original nation in America, not the Levites. The original nation, they was the dead. That said, Suleiman would be the firstborn of the dead ones. They tried to say that's Elijah. Elijah is a Levite. He wasn't of the dead. Right? See, the Levites weren't dead. We were the dead. So the first one of the dead ones would be the child that the woman gave birth to in chapter 12, because he was the firstborn of the dead ones. See? The tribe of Shabazz. Excuse me. Understand, brothers and sisters? See? So he taught to the Levites and the demons. Demons not dead either. See? They look like they're dead because they're part of it. They're not dead. Because remember, they really devils. It's black skin. See, they giants. They're more powerful. That's why I call them giants. I don't know what. Let's call me be sneezing, brothers and sisters. For some reason, when I sneeze, it usually goes impaired. I don't know why. I hope not. That's over. Let me do a little clean up here. A second, brothers and sisters. Okay. See. Muhammad didn't have to speak to the dead because these people listened to their language and right, they thought they had the country. Right? They got holy sites. They knew who they were, the Arabs. So all these prophets, they never had to teach the dead. That's the graveyard shift. Because Suleiman had to preach to the dead. He had to raise the dead, literally dead. See? So he had the hardest job of all. Because he had preached dead and he had preached for over 30 some years. with 30 some years. See? That's what it take. So no one had that fast. That's impossible. That's one of the miracles he had to do. I'm going to list of several miracles. That was one of them. That's called a graveyard shift. Okay? Because he had the graveyard shift. Not only had to raise Lazarus from the dead, but then he had to raise him up and make him a powerful army. He had to do that. So he couldn't be if he wasn't a soldier himself. He had to make him a great army. And then he had to lead him into battle. See? He's the only, I didn't have to leave anybody in the battle. I mean, there's people in the battle, but they weren't dead. Another prophet said, preach to dead people. That's the graveyard shift. That's one of the miracles he had to achieve. We're going to talk about several of them. That's what I mean by the graveyard shift. You understand that, brothers and sisters? That's why Elijah told me, hey, I'm not worthy to baptize you. As John the Baptist, I'm not worthy to baptize you. Because he had a hard job. He didn't have to preach to the dead. See? So he preached to the dead. Right? So can these bones live? So he's out there. He's out there for over 30 some years. Hold on, brother and sister. He's out there for 30 some years, preaching to the dead in the graveyard. Who's going to do that? Who's willing to do that? Now I say these people, they don't understand what's going on here. The commitment that has to be done. The Suma had to do. That's why they can't keep up with him, because they think this is kind of like, man, well, I'm gonna lay back, eat some popcorn, and and Uber's gonna come and pick me up and drive me to the promised land. Okay, you keep waiting for that. And Suleiman, they said he was suffering many things, because I could tell you, actually, right? It's been going on 50 years, because I'm gonna talk about that in a minute. Because from the time I met up with Elijah, 1970, right? I could truthfully say, except for when the time, the brief period between Elijah's departure and the angel, right? I have not received one positive thing as a result of doing this. Not one positive, not one nickel, not one dime, not one positive thing. It's nothing but trouble, 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 as reduced his message every second. Why? Why is that? It comes back to the mathematics again. Confusion. If you got 1,000 units of energy per day, right, and using all that energy for one thing over here, and actually using more. So, okay, put it this way. Say you got 1,000 units of energy per day, right? But it's using 1,200. You actually using 1,200, because you push hard. You're trying to produce something, and you produce and using 1,200. That means you're creating 200 units of bad luck around you. You're trying to put all this energy. So you're setting this bad luck, because you're trying to produce this positive thing over here. That's why he was sacrificial lamb, because he's taking, I ain't talk about mathematics in that type of way. He's taking, he's using all his energy, right? Because you can generate bad luck by doing positive things. Oh, what is it? Well, isn't that what this is all about? Isn't the reason why we suffer because we're positive? Isn't that why we suffer it? Because the devils ain't suffering because they're negative. We're suffering because we're positive. And the more positive you are, the more negative. Because if you're positive, okay, if you're positive 15 and you're only getting 10, that means you're suffering energy deprivation because your positive is too high. If your positive was just 10, you'd be even. If your positive was only 7, you'd over. So the devil's positive is only like 7. So I mean, but they getting 10, so they got 3 extra to deal with. But if I'm positive 15 and we're only getting 10, that means we got 5 negative. We built 5 negative. But you can do the same thing by going out and doing good works. Doing good works, because that's positive, right? You're doing good works. Doing good works, right? See, you're going to try to make something, create something positive, or you create something, because raising Lazarus is creating positive, right? Because you're getting positive energy from yourself. So therefore, what happens? That means you create a negative around yourself in order to do this. That's the sacrifice you're making. I'm gonna maybe talk about that a little more. Maybe maybe you can understand at this point. You know, I'm maybe talk about some other time. But think about it, right? Put it another way. I see so great investment over here, right? Just looking at basic. Okay. I get $1,000 a day, right? Right here, right? That's a good investment over here, man. So I invest $500 in it. It's more than I got, but I got to buy that 5,000, right? I bought 5,000 to invest over here. Remember, I get 1,000 a day. I need 1,000, but this investment is 5,000. That's gonna be, if I invest this here, man, it's gonna be a change 20 years from now. I'm gonna have a right. So I said, but I don't have the money, so I bought 5,000 from the bank. But now, 5,000. I'm investing it over here. So I'm taking it, I'm saying, okay, I'm investing that because I figure one day, right, I'm gonna get so much money, I'll be able to pay that off. But right now, I'm in debt because I'm investing over here. Same thing with Lazarus. I'm investing in Lazarus, right? So I gotta borrow energy, right? If that's negative energy, then I'm suffering because I'm investing in a Lazarus. Hope you understand that, brothers and sisters. That's why we get all this bullshit. These Farrakhan, he ain't investing in anything. He investing in himself. Elijah Muhammad investing in the Nation of Islam. And then you see what they did with it. You understand? You know, somebody teach you how to add, subtract, right? Say, well, you learn to subtract 5 from 10, but then say, well, give you how much 3 from 1,000? Well, I gotta go to the calculator. Then you don't understand how to add, subtract, do you? They show you the base, then you have to expand it. It makes it more complicated situations. So if I'm giving energy, I'm getting all this energy, right? To Lazarus, I can create energy by. You can't create energy and destroy it. Understand it. I'm investing energy in him by taking him someplace else. So creating bad luck for myself, it's creating good luck for Lazarus. You understand? That's what I'm saying. I've had nothing but bad luck since I've been doing angel. Nothing but bad luck, period. And before I got into that brief period, I was doing very well. I had a mini mansion. I was doing very well, very prosperous. And then I got in the angel and I got into that. I said, man, nobody gave me this book. Nobody said he had to do anything. You see an angel anywhere it says the land has to do anything? It says what he does, but it doesn't say he has to do anything. Anybody standing on his shoulders saying, you got to do this, do that. Anybody pushing him? He had to make those decisions for himself. And nobody gave it to me. I stumbled on it. From my point of view, I stumbled on it, but the scientists knew I was going to get it because the time was perfect. It was a choice. Right? So I'm going to give all my energy, all energy I can get into raising my people, which will create a negative cloud over me. I'm doing because I'm investing all this positive energy in the earth. I don't see me complain, but I never talked about it before now, like this. But you need to understand, and one part of the reason, because I want people to understand out there, if you think you're going to slide into the hereafter, Suleiman sets the example. The prophet of Meshach always set the example, what you need to do to qualify. Always. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. Graveyard shift. Okay, let's go a little deeper. We'll talk about, well, let's see. I got this organized. You think, boy, brothers, you have no idea. No idea. Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about spheres. The Earth has several spheres, right? Inner spheres, see right at the very center, very hot in the center. See, it gets cooler, next it gets hotter and hotter as you get closer and closer to the center. So we used to live in the center in the beginning, right? Then we finally moved to the surface. But those different spheres, they have different names for them. And we gave the Earth, we formed those spheres Because some of those spheres have precious minerals, some precious stones, right? Some lots of gold. So we set it up. That just happen automatically. When you dig in there, they went like barely scratch the surface of the Earth. The Earth is probably 4,000 miles in diameter, 7,928 miles in diameter. I mean, probably 4,000 miles. What did I say? 4,000 miles in radius, approximately. That means from the center to the surface. And they penetrate maybe a mile, 2 miles, 3 miles at the most. That ain't nothing. And all that stuff is down there, 10, 20, 100, 50 miles in there, man. You get the pressure so great. You got diamonds, biggest houses and stuff down there. That's if we won't be using trees, and like we'll be using gold and silver and stuff in the hereafter, right, to build with. So we got so much of it. But we did that on our way to the surface. That's when you understand the idea of spheres. You got these different spheres. Then right, until you get to the surface. Okay? So you can go study down in your own bronze. It's up to you how much you want to study. I study all the time. Let's move on. Okay, then you got the water sphere. That's a sphere, right? And caves, they're trying to control that with their submarines and everything else. Sphere. It's a liquid sphere, right? That's a sphere. It has certain reaction rates. See, sound is a reaction rate. It's a reaction rate of air. Sound is. Light is the action rate, the reaction rate of the universe. It's all sort of together. They don't understand it that way. They think universe, they have the universe all wrong. The sound is the reaction rate of the universe. Okay? The sound is. Okay, what's going on here? I've got some more problem with this computer. It's slowing down on me. Oh boy. Okay, well, I got it back up. They can activate the universe. Okay? So a light is. And then your water, you have the activated unit, water, right? And sonic waves, that kind of stuff. Okay. So keep that in mind. Then the atmosphere. And like I said, that's air. So actually, the reaction rate of that is sound. And when you have, that's what I said, when you have like a thunderclap, I mean, that's what it is. See? That's really how fast air can react. So as you have a sonic boom or a lightning bolt, separates the air. So how long it takes the air react to come back together, and how much of it, and that's the sound you hear. So if you have something moving through the air at very high speeds, that means it puts a vacuum in the air because it's moving so fast. Because air can't react that fast. It's moving. It moves fast, and that's why it moves fast in sound, because it moves fast in sound, and the air can react. Because the air reacts. That when you sound is the speed of where air reacts. So move fast now. That means now it leaves a vacuum. And the bigger the vacuum is, as soon boom, you hear a thunderclap. Damn, that's what you hear. Okay, understand that, Bill? So those are different spheres. But here's another sphere, the atmosphere. Atmosphere, atmosphere. You're not aware of. You're not aware of this sphere. See, you're not aware of this sphere. This is the most powerful. See, the atmosphere, the air atmosphere is powerful. They say that the principal power of the air. Very powerful. That's what atomic bombs, lightning, all that kind of stuff, thunderstorms, all that's the power of the air. But what's the atmosphere? See, that's the atmosphere, our thoughts. Because thought is pressure. No, air is pressure. Water, all that's pressure. The water sphere is pressure. On the earth, that's pressure, right? All these different levels of pressure. But the atmosphere is the highest level of pressure, right? Because our thoughts are pressure. Thought is force. And they're not aware of this one. See, that's what that is right now. All our brains are connected. All our living brains are connected, including the atoms, all thought, and part of this atmosphere. They're not aware of. Like the fish may not be aware of the atmosphere because they're down in the water sphere. They're not aware of the atmosphere. Not aware of it. See? And that's what we battling. See, they battling on the atmosphere. But we battling the thought atmosphere. And I try to get people to understand thought atmosphere. It's a real sphere. It's all our brains are connected. All of them. See? It's like the atmosphere, right? You do a sonic boom, and the boom waves spread all over the planet. It gets weaker and weaker as it goes, but still it affects the whole planet. You may not realize what it does. Same thing to water. A big stone there, man, you're going to affect waves spread all the way out. Right? It affects the whole ocean. You may not think it does, but it does. Right? But it gets weaker and weaker as it spreads out, but it still affects the whole ocean. Same thing with the atmosphere. And that's what we are about now. Because that's why we make scriptures, right? They write scriptures. It's like you have atom bombs in the atmosphere. We have atomic bombs, right? In the atmosphere. The scripture says, and the angel is the most powerful one we ever made. The angel. Because it's blowing up this atmosphere. That's why they're having all these problems. That's why they're so confused, because the pressure's crushing their minds. And they get more confused every day. The stuff they do makes no sense. If you're thinking correctly, it makes no sense. Because their atmosphere, right? Just like it's like a thunderstorm in the atmosphere, right? So you might see a storm, but you see leaves shaking and everything else because you know it's a storm. You may not see the storm itself, but you see leaves shaking, all kinds of. So what you see right now is these people confused. You see all the Europeans about all kind of stuff because in the atmosphere they're being this is atomic war going on in the atmosphere, and it's blowing their minds where it's crushing them, and you don't understand that. I try to get you to understand that. That's what Suleiman's waging war at, and they can't wage war there. Even they don't have the weapons. See, just like. You're in the atmosphere and you got Uzis and machine gun. That was like come around with a sword. How's that going to turn out? So they got their little media and all that kind of stuff, 24/7. They like swords running around the atmosphere. And we drop it. That's why all this stuff's happening. The whole society's collapsing. And we say it makes no sense. Stuff, gender dysfunction and suicides and drugs and depression. I mean, because at the time it was being dropped. Who's dropping them? Suleiman's dropping. He's declaring atomic war against them. That's what the angel's all about. Every time he opened this, he blew up one, he ignited one of the seals, bam! All this happened. Major earthquakes, if you want to call it, high magnitude. That's what's happening, brothers and sisters. He's waging war here in the atmosphere. And they can't do a damn thing about it because they have no weapons to do anything with anyway. If they even know about it, they got their little swords they run around with, their little media and all lies they tell and all that kind of stuff, news and all that kind of stuff. They cannot compete in this. And I was trying to get warriors, right, to fight, but I can't get anybody that can fight in this area. And the problem is that you have to be strong in the fight anyway. So like if you're gonna go in the thought atmosphere. You don't go in the atmosphere, you have weapons, you need to have weapons to protect yourself too. Otherwise, you're victim of your own weapons. Like bulletproof vests and thing like that there. So I give people the ability to protect themselves from the atomic bombs I'm dropping. See? And like pressure, it's just like diamonds, pressure, it does one or two things. Either crush you, it transforms you one way or another. It grants you a positive transformation or a negative transformation. At the time bombs, right, is positive, it's causing Lazarus, right, positive transformation. That pressure's building until he wakes up, stands up, mind's getting back to him. The weaker ones is crushing them. That's why you saw this confusion in the Western countries, European countries. What they're doing, it makes no sense for they doing. You say that, if you think it purchase, it makes no sense because they can't help it. That's where the war is being raged, brothers and sisters. It's a real sphere, it's not something I made up. All our minds are connected. And when Suleiman started igniting those atomic bombs in 1990, the whole world started changing. And he's still dropping them every day. He just dropped one. He's going to go over it again about Noah. That's a big one. You might not see big to you, but it's a big one. the atmosphere. Understand that, brothers and sisters. I said we got a lot to talk about, so I'm going to cover a lot of different subjects. Okay, here. This is the Odyssey. I talked about the other day. See, when Suleiman starts Odyssey, first he had to find Elijah. That was an impossible feat because he knew Elijah exists. He just looked at Malachi. He didn't know about the Nation of Islam. He didn't know about Malcolm X. He didn't know about Martin Luther King. Actually, he didn't know about any of these people. He didn't know about Elijah, he didn't know about the Nation of Islam, he didn't know about any of that. All he knew is he saw Malachi. He was in Vietnam, right? He was sergeant in Vietnam. He says, he reads about Malachi, and he understands enough about the Bible. This person must be around us. Elijah, he dropped everything we look for him. That's his Odyssey began. Right? Please, military police, MPs looking for him. Everybody looked for him. They called me, put him in jail. He didn't care. He was looking for Elijah. Like Neil, he had no knowledge of whatever. All he did was, in Malachi said, this person Elijah. And he said, well, he must be existing. We're looking for him. To know where to find him, what to expect when he found him. That was the beginning of his Odyssey. Right? Then after Elijah, right? Then the next miracle. These are miracles. This is what they call it miracles. And the miracle is a mathematical thing, but they say miracles is something beyond mathematics. No, just in mathematics you don't understand. That's what a miracle is. The superior mathematics you just don't understand. Superior mathematics that you just don't understand. I'm trying to talk slowly, bro, since I said I'm not eloquent, but I'm working on it. Then the angel breaking the seven seals. According to the angel itself, that's a miracle. Because no one else could do it but him. No one. Yeah, for 2,000 years, couldn't touch it. Think about that. They didn't even get one verse right, get nothing, got a period right in it, nothing. And they studied hard for 2,000 years. Second miracle. So those two have been accomplished. Now his battle right now, he's doing his Odyssey. The next thing he's working on, and he's about to accomplish that. A few days, the demons. They war with the demons. See? They war with the demons. You got to get them and separate them out. These are things that he has accomplished. These are miracles, supposed to be so-called miracles, because nobody even knew who the demons were. He had identified the demons and slayed them by himself. By himself. You don't see anybody in there saying that they helped him to slay the demons. He has to do it by himself. Right? Read Mark. He did it by himself. Nobody helped him do it. So we're not playing bounces. This is war. Then he's got to deal with Magog, or God. That's America. How does he deal with them? See, he don't destroy them. Master Muhammad sets that up. That's what he has to do. Okay? Confuse it, break it apart. See, cause disunity in it. See, weaken it. That's what's happening right now. America's been more diverse. They say America is more diverse than ever, excluding, so-called Holocaust, but amongst themselves, they're more diverse than ever. America's never been I'm not diverse. Diverse when I say diverse, I mean, right, division, divisive, against each other. And that's, Solomon says, he's achieved that. He's achieving it. It's getting worse every day. The political discourse, right? They're fighting each other. The military, you got one president trying to take out another one, and all this stuff. What's going on? Because it says he bring division. That was one thing Solomon would. He bring division. Mother against daughter, father against son, mother against daughter-in-law, mother-in-law against daughter-in-law. You see it going on right now. See, these are things he has accomplished. This is in the process happening right now. See, but it's going to be totally divided by the time they actually get to war, and that's almost any day now. Then once that happens, right? Then he has to take his people, right? See, I missed one there, Lazarus. Got Lazarus. You got to raise Lazarus. That's impossible. They get rid of the Demas and raise Lazarus at the same time. So I left that out. That's supposed to be impossible. He's raised somebody from the dead. That's supposed to be a miracle, right? So you got to do that. So that was left out. That's one of his missions. He got things he has to accomplish. No prophet or messenger, anybody had, any man God had accomplished all these things, and all these things that he has to accomplish. He accomplished a couple already, and some of them in the process. And then he has to take his land back. He has to defeat the jinn. They're powerful over their riches and everything else. They got to defeat the jinn because they got his land, they got his language, they got it all. You got to defeat the jinn. Take his people back and say raise Lazarus, right, to a great army. That's a miracle. Then he's got to lead them in war to take his land back against the jinn. And then he's got to go up against the death and Hades, which, if you read chapter 17, that's the 10 horns, 10 kings that the Lamb have to, they make war with the Lamb overcome them, right? So after they take out Europe, right, he's got to go to war with them. I never talk about that too deeply. I'm trying to, because a lot of things I can't say directly, but that's one thing. He's got to go to war with them. 120 million man army. Death and Hades. Said these will make, it says specifically, these will make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb will overcome them. He said destroy them. He said will overcome them. So now he's got to go to war with them. These things he has to accomplish for his people. So he can't be effing around with the bullshit. See? And finally, right? Now he has to go to war with Esau, the beast. See? His half brother that feels that he was not his half brother, his full brother, right? According to the scriptures, Esau and Jacob. We thinks cheating him out of his inheritance. For the final battle of taking control of this creation. This is the odyssey of the Suleiman. He don't have time for any bullshit. These are goals he has to accomplish. He's only accomplished 2 of them. And he's in the process of accomplishing the 3rd and the 4th one. And after he accomplished those, then he got to actually go to war with the jinn. See? Then he got to go to death and Hades. Then he got to go to war with the beast. These actually, he leads them in battle. These are things that has to be done. It says he's the one who has to do them. 25th scientist, because no one else could do it. And he says, Master Muhammad said, I will be with you. Don't have no fear. I'll be with you. Because he's the God in the air, he's Air Force. But he says, he's telling Joshua, I'll be with you. I'm backing you up. You're the one out front. Read it carefully. He's the one leading the battle. He says, God says, I'm with you. I got your back. But you're the one on the ground doing it. He can't have no Mickey Mouse, milquetoast, weak behind Negroes with him. Can't have it. With these battles and what we have to go against, we're going against the whole world, 5 billion, 6 billion people. You better be ready because he's going to purge you out culling. He's going to make sure he shake his shoe all the time. See? So for everybody, he shakes, they fall off because he don't want them. If you can't handle it, you can't handle that. You can't handle a battle. See? I'm trying to show you we're in war. And the lamb part, that's turned into a lion. It says, you don't know me. But what kind of person would I have to be to accomplish these things? See? It said, blood will be high as a horse's brow. Ain't talking about just anybody. Everything. I mean, when Noah's flood came, it drowned women and children. See? So we can't be talking about bullshit here. If you, like I said, if you ain't with me, you against me. You gotta be with me. The only way you be with me, you gotta be with me 100%. You gotta keep pace with me. I can't be looking around, guys, right? See? Because you gotta be right there. And how you know push my bill? Because when you start pushing, they start moving. They start slowing down, whatever. And they wasn't doing too much anyway to begin with. Okay, now we talk about that. Let's talk about this balance. Now, when you talk about balance, some of you think, because you don't think this thing through, that, hey, this balance is perfect. No, there's not such, there's between balance and perfect balance. Suleiman is about perfect balance, because there's only two times in the universe, right? At the beginning and the end, the maximum expansion and the maximum contraction. And he comes on, that's why he shows up in those times, because he has to make the balance perfect. What are you talking about? Perfect balance. That's what balance is perfect. No, we're going to show you in a minute. See? I've been saying it, but like I said, I don't seem to have any mathematician around, so I don't see what I'm talking about. So we're going to say it's like this here is, this is at the point universe is coming apart. This is where we were at energy deprivation. Right? Let's pay close attention. So it got so bad, we was pulled apart. Nature was pulled apart. Now remember this thing about how you give life after death. It says, take 4 birds, teach them to climb to you, right? Call them, and they come to you flying. So it says, put on every 4, spread them, take 4 birds, right? Place them on all the mountains. So some people say cut them up. So in other words, they spread out. That means your genes, because you get 4 levels, you get 4 pairs of chromosomes, right? You get 2 from your mother, 2 from your father. That's the 4. They come together. That's you. Right? It says you spread them out. They're all over the place. But if you train them to come back together, it's you again. See, Allah was one that gives you life, cause you die, and bring you back to life again. So think about that. Right? So, in energy deprivation, as the universe expands, it's pulling things apart. See, attention is the opposite of pressure, pulling things apart. Our nature got pulled apart. See? And it was so, this tension was so great, it pulled the nature apart. Also pulled the 25th sciences apart. His genes were still here, spread around. Right? So it shows that it pulled them apart, like you see right here, it pulled them apart. So he was here, but he wasn't here together. His genes were all over. So when the pressure comes reverse, universe reverse, right? So reversing, then it reassembles itself again. You understand that? So, because it got so bad that it actually pulled him apart. So he didn't exist during that period of time because his genes were scattered among different people. But then as the universe started contracting again, those people start coming together in their different ways. Eventually, right, this happens. In 1948, right, he started coming back. He come back together. You see? The genetic material was there, just the tension was so great, it actually pulled him apart. Right? And then, right? Then what happens? So first he comes apart, right? And then he pulls his people back together. You understand, bro? It's just the mathematics of it. Then he pulls people back together. That's what he's doing right now. First he had to come back together, then he pulls people back together. Great attention was. You understand, brothers and sisters? I'm trying to get you to understand, mathematics of it. Now it's on this balance situation. That's perfect balance. That's perfect balance. Perfect balance means equal on both sides. Both sides are equal. The fulcrum's in the exact middle. That's perfect balance. It's balanced, but it's perfect balance. Now look at this. Where's this then? That's perfect balance. What is this? It got my new computer again. It's slowing down. Okay. That's balance too. That's balance. The fork moves over. That's balance. It's equal. It's balanced. You should have balance, but it's not perfect balance because it's not equal on both sides. You move the fork over, you get balance, but it's not perfect balance. See the difference between balance and perfect balance? So the universe is always balanced. It's not only perfect balance at 2 points in the maximum expansion and maximum contraction. That's when it's perfectly balanced. That's why Suma comes on scene because he's 25th science. He's perfectly balanced. He's perfectly balanced. Elijah Muhammad asked matter from Muhammad, what is holy? Everybody got the idea holy is not, he said, no, holy is a possum is next to a pig, filthy animal. And he's dead things. Right? These dead things. See? Because he's trying to tell you, holy is balance. Eat dead things, but you need to eat dead things because that's part of the cycle. You need flies and stuff to get rid of dead stuff. Otherwise, you're going to have stuff all over the place, stinking the whole place up. So have balance. Because he's trying to get you that idea of holy with, like they got this false Jesus with a hair over his head. And he walks on water, didn't have a father. He was so pure that he wasn't coming together by intercourse. He gets fertilized itself when the sperm is who you are. So how in the hell did that happen? How in the hell could he be a daughter? That is beyond miracles. How could he be the son, or even a daughter, a female that didn't start out with sperm? That's how life starts out. See? But they didn't know that mathematics back there. Even if they did, they probably wouldn't have cared. My voice is going out here. Let's think about it, brothers and sisters. It's balance, perfect balance. So in the Holocaust, who's balance? That was the balance. We give them $250, they give us $1,000 back. We give them $250 worth of work. No, we give them $1,000 worth of work and they give us $250 back. We was busting after them, they gave us shit to eat. No, if they gave us just beans and rice, or just beans, right, and water, well, that might have been a balance. And that would have been okay. Right? That's the balance. We give them $1,000 worth of work, they only give $250 back. But when they go beyond and start giving us shit and beating us and raping us, then that balances off because we give them $1,000, they're supposed to give $250 back. But they was only giving $50 back. You understand? They was only giving $50 back, but they're supposed to give $250 now. And this balance right here, that was a balance. It was supposed to be a service. That's why I said servitude and affliction. I tell you, these books are mathematical books, and you don't pay attention to these things. I say service, they said enslavement and so enslavement, that's the balance right there. The affliction is that if you gave them $1,000, they only gave us $50. That means that's $200 we should be getting. That's the affliction. That's what they're being punished for. Because they was allowed to give that balance right there. So Moses Smith did. They was allowed to get that balance, and we gave that servitude. We give $1,000 worth of energy, they give us $250 back. But they went so far. In fact, they went so far they give us $0 back. They had to give us enough to survive. To give us near zero, minimum overhead, maximum profit. That's what that is. So therefore, that's what they've been punished for. Because they were beyond the balance. Because that was the balance we had during the Holocaust. But now the balance is equal. Now the balance is equal. And now they're paying that's why they're paying such an awful, that's why they're Holocaust, they're paying the difference. See, if they kept like they said, there would be nothing for them to pay. Because that was the balance for a time. If they just did that, that would have been servitude. There would have been no consequence. There's no consequence to this. That's the balance. There's no consequence to doing this. That's the balance. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. There's no consequence to doing that. But then we get to what some of you call hereafter, right? The balance is if we put 1,000 in, we get 2,000 back. See? That's the balance to them because the balance in our favor. So the thing is, the universe it gets off balance. The Suleiman has to, 25th science, when the universe is total contraction, right? He has to, because, okay, say right now, when we start moving towards the balance, right? The universe is contracting, right? Remember, the balance wasn't perfect. It wasn't even on both sides. So we had the male was stronger than the female because it wasn't even on both sides. That's the perfect balance. So Suleiman has to come and say, no, you're both equal. Put it right. Put it right. See? The assumption is that it says in the hereafter that the woman is going to be more, goes by, the female is going to be more powerful than the male. Think about that. Right? Because strength is not going to be the currency of the hereafter. Strength was the currency of the last 3,000 years because of deprivation. But what's the currency of the hereafter? Wisdom, beauty. And when it comes to beauty, they got a definite edge on that one. Think about that. I'm going to leave that one alone, because that's going to mess up some minds, because you're going to have a hard time getting a hold of that one. Right? But the thing is that that's why I said that. See, the Quran didn't put that in for no reason. It was sure there was an imbalance. Male was a degree above a female. When that's not perfect balance, like Muhammad said, justice, freedom, equality. If you say equality, that means both has to be equal. If Islam means both equal, then why was that imbalance there? Because it wasn't perfect balance. So the Sunnah has to come and get perfect balance again, right? And then it starts moving ever so little as it moves towards the universe contracting, and everything come back together again. And then once you get back to full contraction, it's off again a little bit to the other direction, right? Because when you look at the male, not the male, when you look at the being in the first, when you look at that being, when it's all back together, it's only one being, no gender. If you look at that being, right, if he had the basic form we have right now, it would look like a female, it would look like a male, like a female. You have the breasts, you don't use them anymore, you have breasts. Right? You'd have to have a way to produce the baby, has to have a reproductive system where the baby can come through. Sure can't come through in a male. You see what I'm saying? So she has the edge going another way. See, I know you brothers, y'all think y'all got it, but y'all understand how the universe works. It goes one way, then go another way. So how the hell are women going to be more powerful? Okay. That means she's going to beat you down. But the nature of things is going to give her the edge. Because, like I said, when you get back to the beginning, when you look at that first individual, wasn't a man, wasn't a woman either, but he had the features, physical appearance of a female. Had to. It was reproducing itself. Had to. And that's why Suleiman, he's the one, he's the God at the beginning. He's the one at the end, both ends. He's the 25th signs. I shouldn't say God, he's the 25th signs that woman, and he has to take and put it again. See? Put everything said it right. That's why you don't see him on the two ends. Then it starts expanding again. You got to set equality on both, because you got inequality on this side. He was back there, right? Well, it's only him at that point. It's only that, and I shouldn't say him. Only that individual at that time, right? See, but at some point, as he started producing more of himself, right? At some point, right, it'll say, well, when we get to the gender, because it takes trillions of years to get to the gender, right? Then you might say, well, you know, the female is a degree above the male. You get the idea? Because what are you talking about there? You're talking about beauty? And is it beauty is the currency then? If beauty is the currency, because beauty, everybody knows beauty, the whole universe, we gave it strength. but the females get the beauty. And what do you admire about the universe? Do you admire the strength of it, or do you admire the beauty of it? When you look around, what's their value? So right now, people have value of strength, have value of beauty. Some people have more value, give more value to strength, and some people give more value to beauty. So beauty is the currency, the so-called hereafter. Then the women have the advantage. I'm trying to get you brothers and sisters, get your minds right, to understand what's going on, because you don't have no idea how to. I keep telling you, y'all, we're ahead of you. I'm trying to get your mind back. Because what the devil gave you is nothing. He's like, I'm running this whole society off of ABC. I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 9. Get ass subtract. You just count to 100. I can count to 100, and that's the strength of your mathematics. But that's where you are right now. Until you get your mind back, then you see things a whole different way. Because you're seeing things all wrong now. So you have sync with the universe. So that's why Suma has to come, or the 25th science has to come on both sides and give perfect balance. Then it starts in another direction. Understand? Let's move on, brothers and sisters. Boy, I don't know. I'm sick of these computers, boy. Oof. It's been, like I said, I started this. I've been working on this quite a bit for some while. I decided to do it today. I had to spend 2 hours because this so-called new laptop wouldn't respond. It wouldn't do, I couldn't do it. My network and all kinds of stuff, all kinds of problems. So I said, oh man, I got 2 hours. I should have been done this 2 hours ago. Okay, and we're gonna do a recap on this Noi dimension. Go through it very quickly because I left a piece out. I do that occasionally every now and then in case somebody tries to steal it. And then like Eric and them do, they steal this stuff. They try to make like it's theirs. And so I put a little, I already told people, I put little landmines in there, blow them up. I try to do that. Because they're thieves, Farrakhan, they're all thieves, robbers. It says, all before me were thieves and robbers. Okay, so let's move pretty quickly, brothers and sisters. And the part I want to go through here, the main part I'm going to go through, is about the birds, the doves. Right? Because I gave a challenge to people. I says, well, do you know what this means? I left out the part about the dove. So I'm gonna bring that online now because that's very, it's like an anchor. If I put the on the I and the T on the, across the T. So I left it out purposely. So I'm gonna show you why in a minute. Here we go. Isolation dove. Now, what's happening here is, remember I said, when you understand Noah, it's talking about from the time it took me a while to get that one. Rise here up until the flood, right? That's what it's talking about. Because it's talking about this dove kept going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And you have it talking about a dove and a raven. And the raven does come online and read it carefully until after the flood. So the dove is before the flood. They spoke them together, but read it carefully. And the raven is black and the dove is white. So I'm going to go through this very quickly because I want to get to the main point here. Now, this 7 days is not actually 7 days, like a marker to tell you, what time period you're talking about, right? So doing this, it mentions 7, that means you're talking about a period of time before the flood, right? So it says after 7 more days, right? Now it came about the 7 days where the flood came upon earth. So it's this period of time that happened before the flood. Okay. So flood is takes place during Armageddon. So it starts out here when nations before it's corrupt, before it's enslaved. Not enslaved yet, it's before the flood, it's not before it's enslaved. I put enslaved there because I'm going to the next page there. It's not enslaved, right? But it's all gold. It hasn't been corrupted. Because when they brought us over here, they corrupt us, raping everything else, half the original nation, right? It's black, but they're demons. It's the massive seed. Okay, so let's move on here, brothers and sisters. Notice I put olive right here. Remember, these are the witnesses. They're also called olive trees. They're also called olive trees. See, that's what they didn't get that part. Olive trees, right? Okay. And then it says, and he said on the dove. So remember, so the dove was up there where Elijah was before. Now he's down here, right? Because this is during the time, right? Once we're enslaved, because now we're enslaved, we're spread across. So you can't see, yeah, if you understand the angel law, you can't just put these things in place. This way would be real nation is separate, is slave, right? So now remember they're different colors now. Raven, the demon, the dove, that's part of the original nature, like that's part of the original nature, but now they're enslaved, right? They don't have no power. They're spread out amongst the nation, so to speak. Right? So this was used to be right here where Elijah is, right? Used to be here where Elijah is, but now it's right there, right? So this is what it means. He sounded the dove, so he left from that position, he went out here, right? Okay, let's move on. Then dove came back. When does it come back? This is when Master Muhammad shows up. He starts bringing the nation back together again. Right? Puts Elijah, sets Elijah up, right? Then you got the raven. Raven represents NOI, and demons represent and the Christian blacks, because that's the chaff and wheat. He was told, remember the chaff was massive seed. They sowed amongst the wheat. Those Christian blacks. The demons, they're not our people. They're kinfolk, not kinfolk. But he's told teach the both of them. He said, don't separate them because you're not wise enough, because you might hurt the wheat. So that's the raven. That's the nation of Islam. So, right? So they come back. So now that's when we're back up, come back together again, right? Under Master Muhammad. See, so it said the dove found no rest in place for soul's foot, returned in ark. See? For the water was on the surface of the earth. That means it wasn't flood yet, right? Then he put out his hand and took it and brought it into ark to himself, right? Okay, see, okay, that's I'm going. I was going to go some more detail, but I'm not going to do it. I just want to get to my point here. Then it says, so he waited another 7 days. Remember doing this 7 days again. And again, he sent the dug out from the ark. So here it goes again. This is the falling away. Elijah's department departs, right? Because you had the 40 years of Elijah, and Elijah departs. Now the dove goes out again. So he sends him out again. So now he's in that position again. Elijah's up, right? In that position again, it's falling away. Okay. Then, right, the dove came to him evening, behold, and was right. See here, it's come back up again, but this is during the resurrection. This during the resurrection, come back up, because it's falling away. Now it's about to be resurrected. As a result, this war is about to take place. Black folks come back together again, right? When they come back together, right? I'm going quickly. I said I was going through this quickly. When they come back together, the next step is that they're kicked out. The demons are kicked out because they're demons there. See the dove, but what happens is that the seer takes that position, and they're called olive trees. That's why I said, yeah, olives in his mouth. See, and then he doesn't come back this time. Now he goes back out again. He don't come back this time. That's just about brothers and sisters. That's all I'm going to show on this. That's what I wanted to show. That's why I said the olive is telling you. That's the place where they get replaced. When they come together, they get kicked out. They're replaced. It's time we leave here. That's one time that we leave here because she is not coming over here. Africa's not coming over here. That's we leave here the elect. Right? Those ones Lamb's Book of Life. They will leave here and go back home to Arabia. Right? The demons are cast down, and then that begins the 5 months demon war. I just want to show you. See, this shows you that this is right, because if you understand the angel, you know that they was replaced by olive trees. And it says, and he saw an olive in his mouth, olive leaf. So therefore, then he went out again. He didn't come back. I'm gonna leave it there, brothers and sisters. I don't think that. I don't think. Well, I don't want to go back in the rest of the Noah stuff, so I'm gonna leave it there. Okay, I just want to make that point. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. We're talking about a lot of stuff here. I hope I clean up a lot of stuff. I said we get close. I can make it clearer and clearer. I hope I've done that. But I've done that. But that olive bread I left out there, I figured I knew anybody that didn't understand you definitely wouldn't get that. Try to use it. Then you ask them, then if they you just okay, what about that? They can't explain it. They say, you got it. But I don't think that people that study angel probably get it. Like I said it's too complicated. I said people even studying that know something about angel might not get it. Sometimes I know it. So I took my time yesterday, the night before, all night long, trying to make it as simple as possible. Right? Because first time I just gave you the highlights. I said, no, because I wanted you to understand the process. I thought about this. This is more about the process here. To show you that you cannot understand the rest of the scriptures unless you understand the angel key and then understand the angel key. And this shows you a whole different idea looking at Noah than you looked at it previously. Because when you look at it previously, it doesn't make any sense. You look at all the stuff and say, why are you talking about this day? And why are you talking about 7 days? Why are you talking about the 40 days and 40 nights? Why are you talking about, Lord, it's 600 years old and 7 months? And what's all that about? And when I show you this, you say, oh, this stuff is adding up. All of it. So you see that you realize that it's saying something totally different what you thought it was saying. And if you get that, if you get that little glimpse, then you know these other clowns will have no idea what you're talking about. So I thought so I'm not pushing the angel on this in the sense that you got to understand the angel key. The main focus of me doing this is to get you to see the process. Because if you can see that, then you can see that your understanding of the Bible is totally wrong. You have no idea what it means unless you got the key. And that these people are telling you they're all liars. They don't have no idea what it means. They're just guessing, pulling shit out of their ass. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters, call that money. Hope you understand. We're going to leave it there, brothers and sisters. All right, salam alaikum.